So I usually record all the lessons for the group lessons in case that you guys want to go back to listen to it, or if someone missed the class, you can always find it in the emails that I sent to you guys after the class. So Ellie, you left. You weren't able to join the last class, but I also sent you the link, so you can take a look if you have time. Okay, so today we're going to talk about anti-Asian hate crimes, which was a pretty big thing throughout, I guess, 2020 and through 2021 because of COVID. So let's talk a little bit about that. I took some parts of an article here so that we can start a discussion. So Evan, can you read the first paragraph, and then Ellie can read the second one?
Okay. The FBI defines a hate crime as a criminal offense against a person or property motivated in whole or in part by an offender's bias against a race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity.
And increasing numbers of people in the last several months have claimed that hate crimes and discrimination toward Asian Americans and people of Asian descent across the globe have been on the rise since the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the world in 2020.
Okay, so what do you think about this? Did you hear about any news that have happened to Asians in America? Evan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought it is bad because I think no one wants to be seen lower or be think of inferior to others, and this kind of sorry, do you guys hear any conversation from other source?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you still hear it? Is it very loud?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Let me mute because I'm in the same room as someone, but he's on a phone call. So sorry. I'm gonna mute so that you guys talk. Okay, and then I'll come in when I need to. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean that I think it is a bad thought because the people, the Asian people, they will feel terrified, and they feel not live in a safe place and feel not comfortable by this kind of anti-Asian thoughts. And I hear about some news recently. For example, this year I hear that a grandma was attacked on the street in California, and also there are some attacks in the metros in New York, and because I'm also an Asian, and if I lived in the U.S., it would make me feel scared, and I might not able to hand out comfortably, or I just want to stay at home. So I don't think it's a good thing currently, and I think the U.S. government, although now they are starting to deal with this problem, and I thought maybe they have to do better, and to make the Asian they feel more comfortable in the country.
Right. Ellie, what do you think?
I only heard about the news in the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think it was terrible things because I understand maybe Americans thought the COVID-19 comes from China, but I think they should think about no one want the virus happen on each person or each country. So we should have the empathy on these COVID-19 situations.
Right. So I think everyone probably has heard some of the news, but let's go into more discussion questions here. Why do you think there are hate crimes against Asians? You guys can take turns to answer. So Evan first, and then Ellie.
Yeah, I heard that might not only because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but also some people in American, they saw that foreign people, they moved to the America, how to say that, to get their jobs. Yeah. So so some people they lost their job because the immigrants. So they not only hate Asians but also immigrants from other countries like Latin America or like from Africa. And also there's some tension between China and the US currency, and some people they just think all the Asians they are from China because especially people from Korea and Japan, they're from East Asia, they looks like Chinese. Yeah, so I think that is why some people in the US they become more aggressive to people from the Asia, and yeah, and because they cannot distinguish people, they are immigrants and the people they are native, because there are also some Asian America, they are Native America, they do not have any connection with their mother countries. And another thing is that people who are immigrant does not equal that for example, the people, maybe Chinese immigrants, does not equal to the Chinese government who try to use some tricks or some unfair trade to mitigate the US. So I think the hate is not reasonable, and that's why I think some people in the US they hate Asians.
Right. So just a couple of things. Asian Americans, not Asian America, and it's in America, not in American. Right. Okay, Ellie, your turn.
Okay. I think some of Americans they keep the original thinkings about the history or some something in the past, so they still keep the feeling of hate crimes against Asians. So but nowadays I don't think most or more Americans have the same attitude to the Asian Americans. So I assume that it's comes from the old thinking or the traditional thinkings from the past.
Right, so some traditional ideas that people may have. So yeah, so are American schools safe for Asian Americans? What do you think, Evan?
I don't know, but maybe I think in the US the school is not safe because there are always the news of someone who just shoots in the schools. Yeah, so I think not only Asian Americans, but I think maybe Asian Americans are more easily bullied by other students in the schools because we know that Asians, they are they are shyer, or they are more introverted. So maybe they are more easily be bullied by other students. And for example, I watched a series, and I forgot the name. It's a series just talked about an Asian immigrant in the US, and it's actually an original story of a Taiwanese chief in the America. And I learned that when she was in the elementary school, she was bullied by other students there because they have different cultures, and maybe sometimes they just made laugh at her lunchbox. So I think if I were a student there, I'll feel uncomfortable and feel not safe in this kind of culture and place, and that's why I think it might be not safe for Asian Americans.
Okay. Ellie, I think because of the time, let's move on to the third question. What should the government do about the hate crimes?
Oh, I think the government need to build the laws to protect the different kind of different kinds of people. So they need to punish, or they find the person who is hate crimes, or who does hate crimes. So, and makes people knows it's a wrong things to do that on those people.
Okay, so you're saying that they need to be punished through maybe fines, or
yeah.
But if they're getting hurt, right? So that's kind of serious, right?
Yeah.
So I think it should be more than just fining them. Yeah, maybe you need to punish them, send them to jail for breaking the law. Yeah, so more laws to protect specific maybe groups of people. Yeah, right. Minorities, we would say minorities. So people who have a smaller number of peoples. It could be Black people, it could be Asians, it could be just a race. Okay,
okay,
great. So let's move on to what would you do if there was hate crimes in Taiwan? What would you do about hate crimes, and how can we deal with this? So Evan, can you share first, and then let Ellie share?
Yeah. I think I think people who did this have to be re-educated and be punished, and because we have to let them know this kind of behaviors are not allowed in our society, and this will create more conflicts between our people. And because of this kind of crimes, some people, they might be feel uncomfortable since their childhood, and I think us to feel that to grow up in a environment, a lovely environment, is very important for people to know that they're safe in our society. So if some people they were bullied or endure this kind of crimes since they were young, they are more easily to go to become a gangster in the future, or did some other crimes to others. So I think we have to punish people who did these kind of things, and also re-educated them that it is not allowed in our society.
My thinking is to educate children is the most efficiency way to do about hate crimes, because I think the oldest person, it is difficult to change their thinking and or the old ideas. Like my grandpa, he still hate about the how to say that in English, 客家 person. Yeah. So even they know there's no difference between like he said, Taiwanese and the Keja person, but he still have some oldest person still have the old ideas, and they won't be changed, I think. So I think it's more efficient to educate the children and let them know there is no difference between different generations or different different people. Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about Hakka. Right. So the Hakka people, your grandfather dislikes them?
Yes.
Because
I don't know why.
Oh, you don't know why?
They one of his point is he thought he can stand for the safe he thinks some of the ideas is different as Taiwan local people. So he doesn't want to accept their speech or their thinking or others. But in details, I don't know why, but he still tell us, don't be with Hakka person. I think it's ridiculous, but yeah, but I can't change his mind or thinkings.
Okay, I can't change. I guess you can say you can't change his mind, but we don't really say thinking. Thinking is Chinese.
Oh,
so you can
okay.
say like
Change
that's his idea or his mindset. His mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
mindset.
But I think it's like that. I think older generations, like my grandma, she doesn't like Japanese people. Well, the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they were with
Yeah.
war. It was during the war time. So you can't really change how they feel. It's like, hey, want to go to Japan? No, she doesn't want to go to Japan, right? Like, but Japan's so nice. The food is really delicious, but she doesn't care, right? So I think, in a way, it's for us to try to understand their point of view, right? Evan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think, for example, people, the generation of our grandpa and grandma, they do not like not only Hakka people but also indigenous people in Taiwan, and I think maybe it kind of maybe there are some historical elements in this tension between different ethnics, because in the Qing dynasty there are always some conflicts between these three population in Taiwan, because immigrants from China, they want to occupy the land of the indigenous people, and also Hakka people, they are they have some conflict between Haklo, I think maybe you can say Holo people, and because the source in Taiwan is very limited, and most of the Holo people, they occupy the land are more easily to for agriculture, but the Hakka people, they can only live in the area of hills, and after the KMT came to Taiwan, there are also some conflicts between the Taiwanese people and the people from mainland China, and because the different culture for several years, and they don't know each other, maybe there are some misunderstanding, and there are also some bad memory between them. For example, the massacre from that executed by the KMT in the 228 events. Yeah, so there is true, there are some ethnic issue in Taiwan, but I think Taiwanese government, maybe they I know that our government want to fix this wound in our people, and so they have some laws about this issue. But actually, I think we might not do better than the US, because you know that in the US there are more different people, immigrants there. So we know that there are some news that people in the US, they have some discrimination to the Black people, and current news about the hate crimes in Asian Americans. But I think because they notice these issues earlier than Taiwan, so in their education and in their law, they impose the law how to deal with this problem. But I didn't remember that when I was in the elementary school, the teacher taught me how to deal. I think how to notice this problem in our society. I mean that in our class there are also some indigenous people, and I lived in Zhunan. It's a small town in Miaoli. So in my school there are some Hakka people and some Holo people. There we are all together. But I think when I was a child, my parents and the teachers, they are seldom to make us to notice this is a very important issue for us, and we have to avoid to hurt people that have different ethnics in our society. So I think in Taiwan, we might can do better in the future. And I know there are some news in the US mentioned that the problem in the US, but I think in the US, they deal this issue better in Taiwan. For example, I always heard from in the news or read from the internet that people in the US, if they say something, say some word meant to insult Black people, all the people are very aware of this kind of issue, and that man will be warned not to do this again. So I think in Taiwan we need to enforce the education in our society, in our school, and in society. And for example, last month, and I don't know, last year or several months ago, I read a news that a school in Zhengzhi University, a student in Zhengzhi University, and he called another student Huana, and the student was so angry. And the student posed what another student called him on the internet, and the college noticed that news. So another student was immediately be punished. But I think if we can do this better, no student will make this kind of make fun by called other people, the indigenous people who are not in our society.
Yeah, but I think that's still, it starts from education, but it's still very hard to control everyone, right? You can educate them, but what other people do or what individuals do is not something we can control. It can be educated and
I think the problem is that in Taiwan, seldom people they notice there are some ethnic issues in Taiwan, and they forget that some words will hurt other people. But in the US, I know that some words about like nigger or something like
those
the insulting words. They can't say.
Sure.
Although
you can get punched in the face.
Although they might do not believe that in their mind, but at least
Yeah,
on the
they
behavior.
know it's not to be
Yeah,
spoken.
it's not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're going to take a minute break and then come back to talk about the role play, but I'm going to give you guys the role play now so you can think about it for a minute and then we'll get back to it. So I think here, there's going to be two different groups and I want to focus on the Asian Americans and the white people or the other races that might have something against it. Okay, so I'm going to get Evan. You're going to be like the kind of like the white group of people who are counter or like having these violent acts, and Ellie is going to be the Asian Americans who's trying to protest and to fight for their rights. Okay, so we're going to come back to the same classroom in a minute and then start the discussion. Okay.
Okay.
Great.